Josh Rosen throws the prettiest ball of any quarterback in the NFL draft, but is that going to mean success in the NFL? That's what Brendan Albert and I are going to discuss today on our latest Film Room series, Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, man. I mean, when I watch him and, working with guys like Chris Winkie, who was my boss when I was at IMG, and we talk about strokes, throwing motion, I mean, honestly, Rosen's one of those dudes that you want to show it to middle school and high school players, and you say, you want to throw the rock like him because mechanics and everything is fucking perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we get started, just like real quick question. Are you worried about the arrogance and some of the things that he does?
No. Now here's the thing. I think some teams will be. So here's what we have to remember about Rosen. He's the son of a spinal surgeon, and his mother is an Ivy League educated woman too. So when you have to keep in mind here that when Rosen's hanging out at cocktail parties with mom and dad, he's hanging out with some of the smartest people in the world. So Rosen from the jump was having adult conversations as a teenager. Because of that, now that he is an adult, he is no doubt smarter than a lot of people who are in the room. And a lot of people, a lot of decision makers don't like it when the person that they're considering drafting or taking is smarter than them. So there's naturally a little bit of an inferiority complex. And I think it's on both ends of the spectrum there. Yeah. I don't have a personal problem with it because you know what? One of the area scouts I heard had an awesome quote. He said, is Rosen a douchebag? Probably. But so is Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. And I can't argue with that at all.
That's a good point. I like that last bit there, especially there. And with Rosen, it's sure he's a douchebag and an arrogant prick, but I think it's important that he's smart and picking up on a playbook quickly and reading defenses. So I like a smart quarterback, and Josh Rosen is a smart guy. All right, so we're going to get into this right away. I'm just going to go show two clips back to back because he throws two pretty gorgeous post routes, and this seems like his favorite route to throw, and every time he throws it, it seems like it's perfect.
I would argue, too, here UCLA might have been the most underachieving team the last 2 years, but his ability to throw the ball with touch and accuracy down the field is awesome. Throws really, really nice post pattern here, back-to-back plays. As you guys see, just completely dropping it in the bucket. And almost both times, receivers are able to keep running in stride. Doesn't really change anything for them. I love this one here, too, because he's putting more air over it to make sure that the defensive back can't get over the top of it. And then this one is more of a line ball because he knows he's got to step on him.
Yeah. Yeah, two really, really gorgeous balls. And yeah, this one, like you said, the trajectory is perfect, so you can loop it over that safety right into the outstretched arms of the wide receiver. And then one more time here. Line drive, like you said. So, boom, 6 points for UCLA. All right, next thing, again, really good accuracy. This is a post corner route, and he drops it right into the bucket.
This is a sweet throw, man. You got to put just enough air over it to get it over the trailing defender, but not too much that the safety has an angle to break it up or make a big hit. It's just an awesome throw. His accuracy is top-notch. He's either 1A or 1B when it comes to accuracy of the quarterbacks in this draft class.
Yeah. Look at this. And the other thing you'll notice, and we'll get into this later, these throws that he's making under a very clean pocket.
And that's a big thing for Rosen. When things are good in front of him, he's perfect as a thrower. When things aren't good, he struggles.
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. All right, so next thing, a deep in route, and you're going to see once again the ball placement is perfect.
This is on a 3rd and 20 play against Stanford, and he's backed up in the end zone, and they're down 10. So first off, if you don't convert this, you are punting, and you're giving Stanford the ball probably about the 50. So you have to have supreme confidence in your quarterback that he can make a throw like this. 20-yard dig route is just a ball on a freaking dime, man. This is an awesome ball.
Yeah, this is rope. This is sexy. This is what you want to see. Oh.
And again, as you said, Adrian, clean pocket. Pocket, everything's perfect for him.
Exactly. All right, next thing, obviously, as we can see, he's a very accurate quarterback, and that also applies to quick slants, crossing routes. So like Sam Darnold, he's going to put the ball on your proper shoulder, and he's going to allow you to run after the catch. This is not what I thought it was going to be. All right, so this is where we'll talk about the clean pocket. You know what? I think this is the clip where the quick slant, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
This is going to be a really nice job here. Look at him. Right in the hands of the receiver. Receiver is able to get about 25 extra yards after the catch because of the ball placement there. Darnold had a good clip of this. Rosen also has the ability here. Very, very accurate passer, as we see here, giving that receiver the ability to get those yak yards for the offense.
Yep. All right, so this is a deep comeback route coming up. And this is where we're going to talk about the clean pocket. And whenever he's got a clean pocket, he's perfect. And that's the thing is when he's at the next level and you draft him, you better make sure you build a great offensive line around him. You look at the Jared Goff situation. You know, obviously he had a change in coaches, and that helped him very much. But the other thing that helped him was getting offensive linemen and building that O-line around him, getting Andrew Whitworth in the offseason. So if he has a great offensive line, he's going to do very well in the NFL. If he doesn't, he's going to bust.
I'd agree with that. Honestly, I think of all the guys, if Rosen slides, if he slides, that is, he might be the rookie of the year because he's going to go to a better system. Mm-hmm. And as I talked about, when things are clean, he looks freaking perfect.
Yep. I mean, look at when the pocket look right there. Deep comeback route, perfect timing, perfect accuracy. And we're going to just see the quick slant again.
Bang, right in the hands. Let him get some yak yardage, man.
Yep. All right, so now a couple knocks on him. When the pocket isn't clean, as you can see, he struggles with interior pressure, and he's not a guy that's going to escape the pocket.
No, you're right, Adrian. I would say he is below average in pocket mobility, ability to move laterally, reset his feet, things like that. He's below average at that. So he takes a lot of hits. Now, if I'm, being negative here, I could say, hey, this is on you, man. You got to be able to slide left, reset your feet, come up. Or if I'm trying to be positive Paul, and I'm trying to be, on Rosen's side, I'm saying, look, this offensive line was bad. I mean, this was a bad offensive line, and he took a lot of shots, and he probably got gun shy. I think about Carr was with the Texans. He got gun shy right off the jump and was never right again. I mean, honestly, Rosen does have a little bit of a tendency to be a bit gun shy. And it's not that he's afraid. I'm not making that. I'm saying it's the fact that he doesn't have confidence in the offensive line in front of him. So absolutely, he goes to the NFL and he gets a good offensive line around him. Yeah, he absolutely could be fixed. But it is a fair concern right now for him is what's his pocket mobility like because he takes a lot of shots.
Is Sam Darnold sliding his feet and escaping this pressure?
I think so. I think Sam's going to slide his feet back to the left and then reset his feet, come up a little bit. I think that he probably could have. If nothing else, I'm more confident in Darnold's ability versus Rosen here. He's just taking this. I mean, he's taking shots over and over again. And in the NFL, you don't survive multiple shots like that.
Yep. So we talk about his perfect mechanics. Well, when it's clean, it's perfect. But when he's pressured inside, that's when it can kind of mess with his mechanics. And we're going to look at an example of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, when you get trashed at your feet right here, that's the nightmare for quarterbacks. When you have trash at your feet, that's when you start to throw off the back foot, exactly like you're going to see here. Completely all arm talent just throwing the ball. This is how Brady tore his ACL. This is how Stafford gets in trouble too, is when there's pressure at his feet. Rosen, big issue. Really, really gets gun shy, pressure at his feet. Again, offensive line tells him, look, I've gotten pressure at my feet every single year I've been at UCLA. So that's a concern. But you also could say, oh, we're going to have a better offensive line around him in the next level. We're not as worried about this. I could talk myself in or out of this concern pretty easily here.
Yeah. All right, next thing, kind of the same kind of deal as we're looking at before. So, again, pressure in the pocket, and he's taking sacks. I mean, he took a lot of sacks at UCLA.
Yeah, and this clip specifically, Adrian, this talks about bad pocket pressure. Step up right now. You have so much freaking room in front of you. You don't need to be taking this much of a deep drop. If you take this deep of a drop, all you're doing is you're allowing more one-on-one time for an edge rusher on a tight end. I'm not a freaking genius, but I'm going to take the guy who's the edge rusher on the tight end more times than not in a pass protection situation. So, Rosen, you have to step up here. This is an example here of I don't think it's very good pocket ability or pocket awareness.
Yep. All right. Some of these other quarterbacks, like a Baker Mayfield, like a Sam Darnold, a lot better throwing on the move than Rosen. Rosen just doesn't really look that comfortable doing it.
He's a little bit of a statue. I will say that. He's not a guy that you're going to be able to put much of an RPO attack in because, at least for me, I'm 0% concerned that he's actually going to pull the ball and run with it. So Rosen, he's a guy that I don't have a lot of confidence in mobility. If I'm taking him, I'm building the offensive line heavily first, and then I'm taking him. A guy like Baker, a guy like Darnold, and of course a guy like Lamar, they can make throws off script. They can make those throws when things aren't perfect in front of them. I'm not as confident about that with Rosen.
Yeah. All right, one last thing. Here's a play that should have been picked. At times he will try to fit balls in the tight windows. I don't know if that's an illustration here. Let's see what's going on here.
We're down 20, 8 minutes left against A&M, and let's be real, it's a completely lucky touchdown here. This ball absolutely should have been picked. Absolutely should have been picked. When you watch this game here, you're going to notice the first half, Rosen looks terrible. Second half played pretty well. So it's that Jekyll and Hyde situation here. But he takes some chances with the ball. Darnold certainly takes some chances with the ball. Again, if I'm being negative, I'm saying, look, I'm a quarterback. You can't be taking chances with the ball, especially as a rookie, man. You take chances with the ball, you're going to come sit on the bench. But if I'm being positive, I could also say, well, they're taking chances with the ball because both USC and UCLA's offense, not exactly awesome.
And this is another example here. I mean, he should be stepping up in the pocket right now. Instead, he's stepping back. And when you step back, that obviously takes some strength off or power off your ball. And
it does.
Stepping up, he's able to get that to the receiver without it reaching the safety.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair, Adrian.
So there you go. One more look at it. And it's a touchdown for UCLA. They came all the way back. They were down 41-10 or whatever it was in this game. And they came back. But a lot of those touchdowns at the end, like that one, kind of lucky. And, Josh Rosen didn't really have a good game against Texas A&M. So what are you thinking with Rosen? Where's he going? Who's he going to?
All right, so let me kind of do this. So as many of you guys know, I live out here in Vegas, so I love the prop bets, okay? Adrian, here's one of the prop bets. Player to be drafted first, Josh Rosen or Saquon Barkley. Who would you take? Who goes first?
Woo! Man, it's all going to be depending on the Giants. Do they take Saquon Barkley at number 2? Or are they going quarterback? I'm kind of leaning. I think the Giants are going to take Barkley now. I just have this gut feeling. It seems like, from what I'm reading, it could be all smokescreens, obviously. It sounds like they really like Davis Webb. And I don't think that's the right call to go with Davis Webb as your future quarterback. But they think Eli Manning's got like 2 years left. They might transition to Davis Webb, and then maybe you go take Saquon Barkley. So I'm going to say Barkley.
I think that train of thought is 100% right, Adrian, because that's really what we're saying here. Because one of the quarterbacks is going 1, another quarterback is going 3. The quarterback that goes 3 is either going to be Baker or Rosen. Mm-hmm. And then you say, okay, do the Giants pull the trigger and go quarterback at 2? And if they do, then you know for a fact Rosen's probably going to go 3 to the Jets. Or what I think is going to happen, Jets are going to trade with the Bills. I think the Bills are going to eventually pull the trigger and make 3 ones of an offer and eventually trade up, and they're going to take Allen probably at 2. So to me, I think Rosen or Baker goes 3 to the Jets. I'm not a huge Rosen fan personally. Look, when he's perfect, it's awesome. So I think he's a guy, he'll go in the top 10. No doubt in my mind, he'll probably end up going in the top 6, 7, because I think the Colts would trade out. If he's there at 6, I think the Colts would trade out, whether it's a team like Miami or Arizona or Buffalo that might trade up. I think he'll end up going at least in the top 6, 7, but I don't love him as much as I like some of the other guys.
If he goes to the Giants, now granted, he would wait because Eli would kind of play out his career, but that's an offensive line I wouldn't want to go to. So you have a bad offensive line and also the windy kind of cold conditions of New York. Does Josh Rosen have the arm strength to handle New York?
Well, I don't think he's got the elite arm strength, right? I mean, Allen obviously has the elite arm strength. I would say probably the second strongest arm is Lamar Jackson, and then I might say the third is Baker, followed by Rosen and Darnold. but it gets pretty close after 2. 1 and 2, I'm pretty confident in. 3, 4, 5, I think are all pretty even. I could argue either way. So I think that's a fair thing. But honestly, Adrian, his accuracy makes up for that concern for me. So I'm not as worried about arm strength. You can scheme around arm strength more than you can scheme around inaccuracy.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Peyton Manning; he never had the greatest arm either. All right, so you got a quarterback comparison for me. You want me to guess? Now, I don't know if I want to guess again because like everybody said, Tony Romo was so obvious in the last one, made me feel stupid. So we'll see if I'm as stupid in this one.
Yeah, you got crushed last time by the all-knowing commenters. All right, so here we go. All right, so the guy that Rosen reminds me of went to a extremely high academic university.
Okay.
Has a fantastic throwing motion, one of the best throwing motions the NFL has ever seen.
Okay.
Often was criticized for potentially being a little brash, outspoken, and too honest.
Okay, I think I know who this is.
And was someone who only was successful when the team was perfect around him, was certainly never a guy that could really carry a team by himself.
Is Vanderbilt considered a smart university?
Absolutely.
Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler, yeah. I mean, everything I look at Rosen and Cutler, off the field stuff, very, very intelligent people. I mean, you can't knock them. You can say, hey, I don't really love the fact that Rosen once wore a fuck Trump hat to a Donald Trump golf course. And if that's your political views, that's your political views. I'm not here to talk about that. But if you don't like that, that's your own prerogative. I get it. But at the same time, you have to admit the fact that when you listen to Rosen speak, he is a very intelligent young man.
Wow. I got that one a lot quicker than the other one.
Yeah, you did. You nailed it. Now, here's one kind of interesting thing I want to talk about before we wrap up shop here. Let's play this scenario out, Adrian.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, Sam Darnold goes 1. Let's say the Bills trade up, Allen goes 2. And now you're the Jets, and you're sitting there, and you have Baker or Rosen. Who would you take, Adrian?
Whew. I like Baker more than Rosen, so I'm going Baker.
I think I do too. Now, here's why I think this is interesting. Woody Johnson, who is currently the owner of the Jets. I'll make sure I read my notes here correctly. Yep. He is the U.S. ambassador to Ireland under President Trump. Would Woody Johnson, who clearly has some political ties, whether it's personal or just political ties to Donald Trump, draft Josh Rosen? Because Josh Rosen is very outspoken against Trump. That is a very fair thought process to have.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, would you rather win or would you rather be proper?
I don't think you're wrong, but here's the way I look at it. Let's say they're splitting hairs. Every little bit might help, right? So I personally would take Baker. I like Baker more than I like Rosen. I know a lot of people are probably going to crush me in the comments, but I'm going to talk about that in the top 5. When we do our top 5 reasoning, I'm going to explain why I don't love Rosen as much as the other guys. But I think that could be a fair conversation. I think Rosen might be a guy who might slide in this year's draft of the quarterbacks.
You know, the other thing that comes to mind too, I mean, not only just the offensive line, but because he's a statue, because he can't really move the pocket, he's the guy that's going to get some concussions in the NFL, and that was a problem in college. And I don't know if that's where you're kind of going with that there, but we'll kind of save that for the top 5 discussion.
Yeah, we'll talk all about those type of things, those things that aren't necessarily things that you see on film that are going to be factors for NFL team. But we'll dive more into that, guys, on our top 5 conversations when we eventually do our top 5 quarterbacks, where Adrian and I will rank who our top 5 quarterbacks are and where we think they go drafted.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously, Jay Cutler was obvious. So we'll see if I can – no, I'm just kidding with that. I don't know how I got that. See, Tony Romo was like a guy – it took me like a minute to finally get. Jay Cutler I got really quickly. But when you said brash and arrogant, and then you said he couldn't lead you, but like he had a perfect ball, that I knew it was Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's Brennan Albert. I'm Adrian. Thank you. We're out. Peace.
Appreciate it, guys.